you talk about what your style says about you?
I get a lot of harassment for the way I look. Sometimes I dress to be sort of invisible, and other days I dress to be visible. On my like invisible days, I'll be dressed in like mostly all black. On the other days, I'll be in like a hot pink vinyl mini skirt and a crop top and like maybe like bright purple lipstick or bright blue lipstick. To me, that is saying, you know, this is who I am and I'm not ashamed of being who I am, and you know, here I am and I'm not gonna back down regardless of what anyone says.
What are the assumptions do you think that they're making about you?
People see me as a boy that they want to put in his place, and that boys aren't supposed to wear makeup and wear crop tops and wear mini skirts. As we grow up, we are like groomed to like more fit our certain box. Female turns into girl, turns into woman, but it all starts with your body being labeled as female. That's not where we should start. We should start with a blank slate, and we should grow up to be people and human beings. I was assigned female at birth. Growing up, I remember I would go to sleep at night and I would wish for two things. One was for braces because I had a weird obsession with orthodonture and I got my wish. And two was to wake up in a different body. I wanted a boy's body. I thought that if I had different body parts, maybe I would feel more connected to my body. As a child, I was like a tomboy. And then as I got to middle school, the only viable social currency was like, you know, to dress as a girly girl and to have the approval of the boys in the class. If the boys didn't think you were hot, then, you know, what did you have going for you? Nothing. You were like an outcast. And so I started trying to like teach myself how to be a girl. I read a lot of cosmopolitan magazines. I would think, oh, this is gonna be useful for when I'm married, with like all the like sex tips and stuff. I was like 12. Jessica Simpson was like my idol at the time, and Newlyweds was my favorite show. And I watched it over and over. I like had every episode on DVD, and I, you know, saw her as this perfect woman who like I should aspire to be. And so I tried really, really hard. I like bought mini skirts and I bought bras that I didn't want to wear. At that point, I started wishing for bigger breasts or a bigger butt. And I was like, okay, well, maybe if I develop these like womanly traits, then I will feel more like a woman. By the time I got to high school, I was super depressed. And I was like exclusively wearing hoodies and sweatpants. When I got to college, I lived on a hall with 60 other girls, and that was frightening. And I sort of felt like a fraud. I didn't know any like out queer people. I just grew up researching online. I would go to like message boards when I was 17. That's the only way that I've learned anything about my gender or my sexuality, or feminism or like race issues, has been like on the internet. I eventually came across, you know, videos of transgender people, and I was like, oh, this could be a thing that I am. Yeah. And so I spent the next like year watching videos and researching hormones and changing the way that I dressed, changing my name, and experimenting with pronouns. And I eventually came out as a trans guy. Then I started hormones. Everything like started, it seemed like it was falling into place, and my body started changing. My voice dropped. My shoulders got like pretty broad. I grew facial hair. My like whole like chest was covered. It was itchy. The thing that I should have realized was that I wasn't gonna end up looking like the white trans guys that I saw everywhere in YouTube videos and stuff. There weren't many people of color making videos, or they weren't as reblogged or like shared. I like have never had like a like clear image of myself as a black person because I grew up with the white side of my family, and because race was not talked about at all. I thought, you know, I fit in. Okay, I didn't fit in, but because people don't treat me like I'm like that different, I must be the same as all of these white people. From about a year on testosterone, I was very depressed. I was like, this is not it. I'm not comfortable like being perceived as a man, and I'm not comfortable looking like a man. I was keeping a journal at that time. There's a lot of like, I am not who I used to be, and like I miss the person that I used to be. I'm not like as ambitious anymore. I'm just like laying in bed watching like 8 seasons of Supernatural in like a 3-week period. Around my 2-year mark, I started like weeding myself off. of testosterone, and like right at the 2-year mark is when I completely stopped. I was really happy to be done, but I also was really scared because I had no idea what my future was going to look like. I was coming out again, and I was scared that people weren't going to take me seriously. As I went off of testosterone, immediately I think the first thing I noticed was that my arms shrunk. I felt happier. I felt like moodier because my hormones were like out of balance. My sex drive went down.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it went way up when I was on testosterone. It took like a year to like solidify my identity and like to find like a label that fit me, which is agender, and the pronouns that I wanted people to use for me, which are they, them, and their. For me, being agender means not being confined by expectations or by labels. I had a lot of space to just be myself. My mom has always been supportive. When I was 15 and I really wanted to get my tongue pierced, and she was like, no. I like wrote an essay of like the pros and the cons and like how I was responsible enough to handle it. And eventually, you know, she was like, all right, fine. And then she went with me to get it done, and she was like, you know, I like it. Asexuality is not talked about a ton. There are asexuals like myself who like I do enjoy having sex. I don't like feel that attraction to someone, which is a very, very complicated thing. If you think about someone in your life who you would never like even imagine being attracted to, someone you grew up with who like,
Right.
yeah.
It's like that with everyone.
Yeah, that's how I
It's
feel with
kinda like
almost
college.
everyone.
What do you love the most about your body?
I only like have recently come around to loving my hair in the past like year. Growing up, people would make fun of it, and by people I mean like the like white kids in my class. So I would like chemically straighten it. I like started chemically straightening my hair when I was like 8, and so that I could look more like these other people who were like deemed to be pretty. I could never appreciate my hair when other people were either like tearing it down or like fetishizing it. I have like come to love and appreciate my hair. It's like different and like it is very me.
When do you feel the most beautiful?
I feel cute a lot.
Okay.
Cute is sort of a strange word when other people use it for me because that's always the first word that they go to, and I'm very rarely described as like hot or like sexy or attractive or like gorgeous or beautiful, and I'm just like, why am I not any of these other things? I just wish that sometimes like someone would mention another characteristic first.
Why in your body is it a good place to be?
I've learned that people are like socialized to think certain things about my body because of my race or because of the way that they perceive my gender. And so I've learned that the problem is not with me or my body, but the problem is with like people's assumptions. Even when it's not being perceived correctly, and even when I'm disconnected from it, it's still there for me. I don't ever wish that I had a different body anymore.